Yo, what's up, guys? This is Why Not Be Reckless, aka Why Not Be Casting. I'm one of the HCS commentators, and we have another HCS Weekly Report where today we're talking power rankings. We're ranking every team from the top 16 all the way to the number 1 team. I know you guys are seeing it right here, right now. All I'm saying, I know I made some people mad, but we did this video live. We had a lot of movement going on, and this is what we ended up with. So I'm saying before you disagree, before you drop in those comments and start blasting me, just give me an opportunity to explain each and every placing, and maybe just maybe you might end up agreeing with me. Again, I want to keep in mind that this current placing is all for making it into land. So this is going to be based on what we believe land performance are. We base these placings on scrim results on top of previous tournament results like the SSG Snowdown, and even went back to Worlds as well to figure out where we're at. Number 1 is FaZe. I know a lot of Optic fans right now want my head on a freaking stake. They're done with me. They saw this and they already done with me. I'm sorry, Optic fans. From what I saw in the SSG Snowdown, FaZe taking that $10,000 prize, but by the way, they looked so damn good, and with so little practice. I would argue that FaZe are a super team right now, and although I have massive amounts of respect for Optic, I think FaZe take that number 1 spot. Optic down to number 2. I'm not gonna be disrespectful. I'm not gonna take them out of the top 2. We're talking about back-to-back LAN champions, world champions. There's no shot that I'm taking them out of the top 2. I don't think I even need to defend that. And very similar to SSG as well, who were going by Cloud9 in season 1. Show some respect to their name real quick. Bound, Eco, Penguin, Stellar, no longer coached by Hoaxer, now going to be coached by Elamite, excuse me. I wonder how that's going to change things up a little bit. But again, second place, World. Second place, Orlando. Same thing for Kansas City. First place at Anaheim. And of course, first place during our Raleigh major kickoff. Big plays were made by Cloud9, especially on land, and that's exactly what we're talking about, making it to Charlotte on land. So I have them in the 3rd place spot. I will say this 3rd place spot, it's open. There's a lot of teams that are going to be gunning for it, including G1. I know a lot of people are going to disagree with me on this one, but I've been watching them closely in scrims, even back when they were doing the quote-unquote secret scrims. They were blowing out teams like Native Red. They were looking good against teams like Optic and FaZe. I'm sneaking G1 in my top 4, and I know people are going to be mad at me on that one. I'm sorry. You'll be all right. I wanted to have Sentinels and Quadrant in my top 6, but we kind of talked about this a little bit here. By the way, I'm sorry, G1, by the way, Booba Doobu, Falcated, Suspector, sorry, and Sab almost died almost just died mid-video. That's your G1 roster. I wanted to put Sentinels and Quadrant up in top 6. However, Sentinels, they haven't really looked the best in scrims. Only taking 2 off of FaZe, only taking 1 off of Optic, 2 off of FaZe again. I like the 5 off of SSG. I do like that. And I like the fact they 13-4 native white. But the rest of the results really didn't go their way. So I ended up taking Sentinels out. Sorry about that. I ended up taking Sentinels out of my top 6. I'm keeping Native Red in because they had a miraculous run at Worlds. 3rd place at Worlds, that to me is enough to get you into the top 6 at Charlotte. And plus, they're a swing team. Anything goes their way. I'm really happy with Native Red, and I'm going to keep them in my top 6. And I'm also going to keep Shopify Rebellion in my top 6 as well. Shopify Rebellion, let's see if I can find it real quick. I don't know if we have it here. So Shopify Rebellion took 5 games off of Optic. They took 6 games off of FaZe. And after that, we don't really have too much on them here. But I have been watching their scrims a bit with the Leaf app, and they've been looking really good. They've been practicing ever since Worlds. They never took a break since Worlds. And I believe that the day afterwards, they were already scrimming. The only thing that scares me a little bit is, because I had Shopify Rebellion no matter what in my top 6 before, but just yesterday, Native White decisively beat them at 11-5. That's the only thing that scares me a little bit, because I've been watching. They've been looking really good up until just yesterday. I'm going to keep them in my top 6, but I'm a little scared of that. And it was really close putting Quadrant up there. The only reason why I don't have Quadrant in this top 6 is because I feel like we haven't seen Quadrant just yet. The best placing so far from an EU team literally just last season was 8th place, so that's why I want to stick Quadrant right now, but they're definitely going to be competitive, and they definitely can make top 6. Obviously, Native Red, we have the same squad. Druck, Manny, Soulsnipe, Taulik, coached by Jam I Am. Things are looking a little bit different for the Quadrant roster. You have Legend and Sika, formerly of that Ascend roster, and then joining them is SLG and Chick from the original Quadrant roster, the same players that got that back-to-back overkills on G1, which like ended up being like the play of the year. That's going to be your Quadrant roster. Sentinels looking totally different. We can find Sentinels real quick. Sentinels roster. Oh, here we go. We have Lethal, the only remaining member from the original roster, King Nick and Spartan coming off of that United duo and then eventually into the FaZe duo. And then joining them is Collect, who's an absolute breakout player. A young gun is snuck into the Sentinels roster. A totally new look now that FaZe have adopted the 3/4 of that 3-headed monster, I guess. Really excited to see where Sentinels go from here, and who knows, on land I can see them performing even better than they have been online. Native White, formerly TSS, Navi, and X Oxygen. Native White. Native White's an interesting one. You got McWin. You have Barcode, Gilkey, and then Tapping Bun. So you took the number 1 player out of ANZ, the number 1 player out of Latin America, stuck him on Native White. You have McWin, who couldn't compete all of season 1, mainly because he was working under 343. So I think he had like a year where he couldn't compete. Now he's good. Now he's ready to go. And then Gilkey, who's fresh off of that French Toast Mafia run to the SSG Snowdown, where they took down the top 3 squad from Worlds. Literally, they took on Optic, SSG, which then would go on as Cloud9, and Native Red in the same tournament did French Toast Mafia, now playing under Native White right now. Really excited to see what Native White end up doing. I have them in the top 12 because I haven't seen too much from them. Up until just yesterday, I will say, if you ignore this scrim, they allowed X Auction to take 7 games off of them. They don't have any more. They weren't able to get a single win on FaZe, which is really tough to watch. Let's see, Native White only able to take 4 games off of Sentinels, so it's been a bit of a rocky road for Native White, but it seems like they're starting to figure it out right now, and I think once they get some time under their belt, I can see Native White really being a dangerous roster and really making a run deep into tournaments, like making it to top 8, making it to the top 6, and even being competitive under top 4. I just think they need some time. Meanwhile, we have the team formerly known as TSS. That's Swish, Huss, Orderly, and Super CC. Sorry, I tested my knowledge a little bit there. They've been looking really good in scrims as well. They had a 5-4 win over Complexity, an 11-1 win over Oxygen. They tied with Native White 8-8, and they were able to take 3 games off of Optic. So really happy to see them putting in the work. I'm very interested to see where they end up going to as far as an org, but we'll see what happens there. Navi sporting a new crew. Let's see if we can find this Navi roster real quick for you. So we have Snaky, which was the second newest member to come in. He came in, I think, 2 months before Orlando, and they looked really good. They went from a top 24 at top 24 like Kansas City, and then they ended up making top 12 at Orlando. So they had a nice big jump the moment they brought Snaky in. You have Mighty's the young gun. This kid looks no older than like 14 years old, I swear. And then obviously Jimbo. Everybody loves Jimbo. And now you're bringing Snipe Drone, formerly of Ascend, that anchor player on Ascend. How many times have we seen Snipe Drone dropping 40 bombs deep into tournament runs? I'm really happy to see Snipe Drone on this squad, and really happy to see where Navi end up going from here. They didn't have the best run in Season 1. I would actually have argued to say that they kind of underperformed, but they were constantly going through team changes and never really were able to figure it out. I think my favorite moment from Navi was, I believe, I want to say it was during one of the events in pool play. They were able to take Sentinels to Game 5, I believe, but they weren't able to come out on top. Navi in Season 2, I think, going to be much more competitive and much more dangerous. We'll see what happens with them. And then Oxygen Esports, same as the Oxygen Esports that you saw from, or at least 3/4 of that roster. You have, gosh, what just happened? I believe we have Triton, we have Nemesis, we have Straight Sick as well, and I believe Squale. So actually, only half of the original Oxygen Esports roster is there, and then we have 2 new members. I apologize, I forgot Squale coming over from G1, and then Straight Sick, formerly of G2, are going to be on that Oxygen Esports roster. I really, really like them. They seem to be struggling a bit in scrims as well, but I mean, hey, look, everybody's been on a break. Everybody's trying to figure things out a bit. See what we can find. So they took 7 games off of Native White. I did like that. Only 2 games off of SSG. I would love to see this be like 4 games. So that might be me just nitpicking a little bit. 11-4 Proton game, which probably Proton game is really competitive this season. If we can find anything else. I think that's pretty much it from there. Excited to see what they end up doing. They had a really nasty run over at Worlds where they ended up getting top 6, obviously collective boom on this roster, so we start to see what they look like. But Nemesis and Triton are the real deal, so they're still on the roster, they're still doing their thing. I think they've done enough to keep that top 12. I battled a little bit with putting them into top 16 and putting complexity up because I really like the way the new complexity roster is looking, but we'll keep Oxygen up there. Forbidden Fruit, but looking good in scrims. I got them by top 16. That's Envor, Tony Two-Turn, Precision, and Neuronical. Envor and Tony Two-Turn have kind of been a duo for quite a bit. I actually got to run some games with them. They're really good and really good at adapting to almost any given situation. Precision was really showing off. I want to say his last team was Shopify Rebellion, and every time I was casted during one of the open events, he continued to impress. The man is a slayer and simply hits shots, so watch out for Precision. And then finally, Neuronical, who former play caller from that complexity roster. I know he's gonna want to get a little revenge on complexity. It might have been dropped, or maybe chose to leave. I'm not exactly sure what happened in that situation, but excited to see what Forbidden Fruit end up doing. Proton Gaming, J-Link's bringing in Burton. Burton apparently moving to Turkey, I heard. That's gonna be really excited to see. They had a nice little run at Worlds. Complexity have a very interesting roster. You have Cycle, who I believe is the only remaining member of Complexity. You have Septify and Jazero coming over from that Fnatic roster, and then Tusk, who had a little bit of a run on SSG back early into Season 1, eventually became the coach of FaZe at one point, and now is coming back as a player. So really excited to see how Tusk ends up playing out, but I have Complexity rounding out our top 16. So that's my top 16 teams and the reason why. If you guys disagree with me, let me know in the comments down below. I'm sure it's going to be an absolute mess, but that's my top 16. I'm sticking to it. If you guys haven't already, make sure you like, subscribe to the video, check out the Twitch, check out the TikTok, and all that good stuff. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. Peace out.